Sixer fans, how are we feeling about our draft pick this summer? I'm not going to lie, I was pretty 50-50 on Ace or VJ, but after one Summer League game, it's looking like VJ was the right choice. But let's not get ahead of ourselves because the Summer League really doesn't mean anything. Wemby's first game in the Summer League was really lackluster, and Jared McCain didn't really play too well last year in the Summer League, but he would have been the Rookie of the Year had he not gotten injured. I just want to take this video to go over some of our players, but I want to first start out with the third overall draft pick, VJ Edgecombe. The one skill that you really can take away from the Summer League is how hard someone plays and the passion they bring. Because even if you're having a bad game or your shot's not falling, you're still doing things other players might not like. Like VJ's out here going for O boards, playing hard defense. He's even trash talking in the Summer League game, bringing that tenacity. VJ ended the game with 28 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 1 for 7 from 3, 13 of 27 from the field. VJ's offense looked pretty solid last night. He did struggle from the 3, going 1 for 7, but he ended up shooting 48% from the field. VJ had his mid-range jumpers going last night. He uses his speed and his athleticism just to get by his defenders to get to his spot. He can just rise up over them. VJ's also very twitchy, which will lead his defenders to bite, which can get him more space. And what's my favorite part about VJ's game is that when he attacks hard. But not only that, when he attacks to the basket and he jumps, we have another Amon and Asar Thompson type of build here. When he jumps, he is just floating. And when he's in the air, he can adjust to a contest, he can adjust to the angle, everything. And now onto his play of the night, that fast break dunk. When he's moving on the break, he's going to be so hard to stop. His speed and athleticism is going to generate a lot of fast break points. And looking at these stats right here, 7 points off turnovers, 7 second chance points, 6 fast break points, and 14 points in the paint. A lot of these buckets are just by him simply working hard, which the Sixers don't always have. Now, working hard, let's talk about Adam Bona, who better get the bench center minutes over Drummond. Yesterday, we got to see more of Adam Bona's physicality and his motor. His touch around the basket's fairly nice, but his ability to attack is really what defines his offense. I'm not saying his offense is anything crazy, but when he decides he wants to go dunk the ball, he's going hard to the basket, trying to kill somebody. He was making a fool out of Filipowski, especially those 2 pass fakes where Filipowski for some reason jumped and he just got a straight line drive to the basket. Bona's also very good in the pick and roll because he sets some hard screens and he rolls really hard too. And I can't wait to see him get those minutes with Jared McCain next season because that's going to be a pretty deadly pick and roll into a McCain jump shot or maybe an alley-oop too. Bona rebounded pretty well last night. He was the second leading rebounder in the game behind VJ Edgecombe, which I think I forgot to mention that VJ Edgecombe led the game in rebounds. But ultimately, Bona played physically the whole game, and like he usually does, and he had 8 fouls in 28 minutes, but typically he's not going to get 28 minutes. So now, Justin Edwards, I thought he had an interesting night. I was really expecting him to have the ball more, run more actions, pick and rolls, isolations, because he's kind of the vet of this squad. I would have thought that he would have had a bigger role, heavier role. Now, in the second half, those type of plays did happen more often, but I wonder if he wasn't really put in those scenarios in the first half to maybe work on his real role with the Sixers of the 3-and-D type. Justin Edwards had a decent game. It was nothing to write home about, but it was nothing to really trash on. Some bad plays, some good plays, everything. Now, talk a little bit about Johnny or Janai Broom. And when I watch his highlights, it shows off a lot of the playmaking aspects of his game, but we really didn't get to see that last night. He had a lot of chances where, he'd catch the ball in the mid-range, face up, and it's starting to look like one of his highlight plays. This is what it typically looks like, but then there's no off-ball movement, nobody cutting, no actions, so there's no where to make the play. But what we did get to see from him was him stretching out the floor. We didn't know if this was going to really be a big capability of his, because I think he shot like 25% from 3 in college, but he made half the Sixers threes. It was only 4, but he made 2 of them, which is more than what some might have expected. And don't get me wrong, he doesn't need to be a great 3-point shooter, he just needs to be a usable 3-point shooter and just stretch the floor out, give more spacing, get that NBA spacing, let other people work. And he was working hard for rebounds and getting post positioning, low position, which is typically his game. But a few times, we saw it with the NBA Combine. He's not the greatest athlete, and a few times it did look like some of those rebounds he was going for, he was just getting skied over by smaller players, which I don't know how that's going to work in the NBA. That's definitely going to be pretty interesting. But that's really all I got. I do hope they keep running VJ at the point, which they did in the second half of the game because Shafino and Mintz can't dribble the ball up the court, or they dribble too much to get the ball up the court. But that's all I got.